So I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once my screen is visible and voice is audible. Just 1 minute. Share screen. Share. Okay. Is my screen visible to everyone? Please do confirm. Okay. Good. So let us start the session. So hi everyone. My name is Ashish Agarwal, and I'll be delivering this lecture to you. So before commencing the session, just a quick round of update regarding my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Ashish Agarwal _GG. So this is the only channel in this world which is dedicated to Oracle Goldengate videos. So if you want to, if you haven't visited, I would request you to do like, share, and subscribe the channel. So today we are going to discuss about Oracle Goldengate introduction, different types of architectures available in Goldengate, and how to install. I'll show you how we can install Goldengate. So before we start, just a quick introduction about me. So I'm expert in Oracle Goldengate and Oracle database. I have 17 plus years of training experience in Goldengate. I have various high rated courses available which I provide. Oracle Goldengate Classic Architecture, Microservices, and Veridata. I have trained more than 7,200 plus trainees and taken 270 plus corporate clients. So I have around 15 plus years of training experience in Goldengate, and the training list which I'm sharing with you, 7,200 individuals and 270 plus corporate clients, which I'm mentioning, it's all on Oracle Goldengate. So I'm Oracle Goldengate certified. I'm Oracle certified professional. I'm blogger and speaker on Goldengate. I have presented my papers in different Oracle communities as well, including Oracle Open World. So for any questions, anything, I'm always available on ashishagarwaleg@gmail.com, or you can tweet me at ashishagarwaleg. And you can always you can always find any Golden Gate related content on my YouTube channel, which is Ashish Agarwal _GG. So let us discuss about what is the session agenda today. So today's session, we are going to discuss about introduction to Oracle Golden Gate, different types of architectures available in Oracle Golden Gate. So what is Oracle Golden Gate Classic Architecture? What is Oracle Golden Gate Microservices? So I'll be giving you the overview. Then what is the difference between classic and microservices architecture and components? Then we'll discuss about Oracle Golden Gate installation, and we'll do the practical demo of it. So now I want you to focus on this session. I assure you, next 60 minutes are going to be best session. Like, you will be learning a lot from this. So my request to you is, please keep your phone down. And if you have any question, anytime, post your question in the chat window. My request to everyone is, keep yourself on mute. And if you have any question, any doubt, post your question in the chat. Okay. Bhargavi, can you please mute yourself? Please keep yourself on mute, guys. Let us respect everyone. So now I give you 10 seconds to prepare yourself. If you have any notification to answer, please answer it. And I want you to then focus on this session for next 10 minutes. And I assure you, you will be learning a lot in next 60 minutes. Okay. So let us start now. So Oracle Golden Gate, what and why? So Golden Gate is a product which is a near real-time replication tool. So what Golden Gate does is it replicates the data from source to target, and it captures the data from source and applies it on target database. So Golden Gate provides near real-time transactional data replication. So guys, let me tell you, one thing is Golden Gate is near real-time data replication. So near real-time means as soon as transactions are committed on source, they will be applied on target in near real-time. Within next few seconds, they will be applied. So say for example, on source, you did one insert. So it will be reflected on target within near real time. Oracle promotes the product as real time, but let me tell you, nothing in this world is real time. Near real time means there will definitely be some delay. There might be millisecond or seconds lag, which Goldengate takes care. With Goldengate, the advantage is replication can be unidirectional, bidirectional, or multidimensional. So unidirectional means one-to-one replication. So say, for example, you are replicating the data from your source to target. So Goldengate can replicate. Goldengate has capability to perform bidirectional replication. So bidirectional means both the sides will be live. So say, for example, you have two sites, site A and site B. So you will be replicating the data from site A to site B, and whatever transactions happen on site B, they will be replicated to other site A as well. Multidimensional. So multidimensional means multiple sites may be involved, A, B, and C, and you want to replicate the data among all of them. So Goldengate can support multiple topologies and multiple requirements for you. Now with Goldengate, replication can involve several sources and targets simultaneously and can be used for distributing data for backup, hot standby, auditing, reporting, warehousing, and load distribution. So the advantage of replicating the data is you can use that replicated data on target for backup purpose, for hot standby, or you can use it for auditing purpose, or you can use it for reporting purpose, or you can use it for data warehousing and load distribution as well. So you have got multiple options available to use your target for. Okay, now with Goldengate, the advantage is you can have several sources and targets simultaneously. That means you can have multiple sources replicating data to single target, or you can have single source replicating data to multiple targets as well. Okay. Now, with Goldengate, data may be replicated as is, or replicated data may be edited, transformed, split into different distributions, have metadata added or filtered. Both DMLs and DDLs can be replicated whole or in part. So the major advantage with Goldengate is Goldengate can perform your data filtration as well as data transformation. So say, for example, on source, you have 10,000 records happening. You want to replicate only 5,000 records out of it. You can do that. So Goldengate can replicate the data. Say, for example, on source, you have 100 schemas. You want to replicate only 5 schemas. That is possible. In those 5 schemas, there are 1,000 tables. You want to replicate particular 100 tables. You can do that. In those 100 tables, there are 5,000 transactions happening. You want to replicate only 2,000 transactions based on business requirements. So you can do that. So Goldengate can do minutest level of replication for you. Okay. And Goldengate can also replicate your DML as well as DDL transactions. Now, the next thing is who should learn, who should be learning Goldengate? So if you are working as DB or apps DBA, any Oracle or non-Oracle database administrator, learn it. PLSQL developer. So if you are working as a PLSQL developer, yes. Technology is responsible for data replication. High availability data technologies. Cloud migration specialist. So Goldengate right nowadays, I'll tell you, about 5 years ago, 6 years back, it was a trend or it was a common thing that people who have Goldengate knowledge, sorry, DBAs who have Goldengate knowledge were hired. But now organizations are looking for people having only Goldengate knowledge. That is the advantage. So Goldengate is one of the hottest technology in market, which has lot of benefits, which comes with lot of requirements, which comes with like when you learn Goldengate, you can understand Goldengate is not the only the replication. The one advantage of Goldengate is it replicates the data from source to target. But apart from replication, what it does is it also perform the you can use Goldengate for business intelligence purpose. You can use Goldengate for data migration. In fact, nowadays Goldengate is used for data migration purpose. So say, for example, you are looking, you are you want to the data from you want to upgrade the database as well as migrate the database from 11G to 19C and you want to migrate from on-prem to cloud, you can use Goldengate for zero downtime upgradation. That is the advantage of it. So Goldengate has multiple advantages. Like nowadays, what organizations do is they buy a short-term licenses for Oracle Goldengate, and what they do is they use Goldengate just for migration purpose. So organizations, what they do is they hire Goldengate specialists for migration purposes. Now, why learn Goldengate? Goldengate. Now, to answer this question, why learn Goldengate? There are both financial as well as technical reasons involved with it. So Goldengate is used by almost top banks and telecoms and large enterprises big budget and so higher paid job. I'll tell you, like as per Indeed, in US I'm talking about. Average salary of Oracle DBA is 98 it ranges between 85,000 to $98,000 per annum. If you add Goldengate to your resume, that boost up your minimum average package by 32%. So it becomes around 130,000 average Goldengate administrators per annum. So Goldengate does two tasks for you when you learn it. First is, of course, career growth, and secondary is your package, what you're working on. So today's employers expect DBAs developers to know more than one task, and Goldengate is niche and in-demand skill. I'll tell you about this. In 2020, when cloud boom was there, in fact, when the cloud was, you won't believe, I used to receive almost 500 to 600 messages per day. I've lost that count, but for almost 4 or 5 months, I've received emails, messages, LinkedIn message, YouTube comment that with introduction of cloud, our DBA is no longer needed. Guys, my answer to that is always remember, if you keep yourself upskilled with in-demand skill, I'm not talking about Goldengate only. At that moment, my answer was same. See, DBA's requirements will still be there, but you have to understand with things getting automated, organizing, like if you're only working as a DBA, it might not help you. Organizations will fire minimum 20, like the people who are in bottom 15 to 20%. So you have to ensure that you are above them so that you don't get the pinks. So to ensure you are getting better paid, you are riding the ladder in your organization. In that case, you have to learn in demand skill. Goldengate, of course, is one of them, but it's not only the skill. You can learn other in demand skill as well. One of them is Goldengate. Now, with cloud implementation, customer want real-time replication or zero-time migration from on-premise to cloud or cloud to on-premise. DBAs, developers, and architects can set apart by upskill and stay ahead in career and better. So these are the things why you should be learning coding. Now, there is one more thing. So these are the technical reasons. I'll tell you why financial reasons you should be learning Goldengate. So one of the reason to learn Goldengate is, or why Goldengate is very widely used nowadays is, what happens is people, organizations buy or they sign end user license agreement with Oracle. So when they sign end user license agreement with Oracle, they are free to use Goldengate. Goldengate is a separately licensed product and licenses cost organization. So with end user license agreement, what happens is, of course, based on the terms and conditions, organizations can use this Goldengate in any number of environments. Okay. Now, because Goldengate has so much capability and so much requirement, organizations use it. They don't use it because of licensing, some small organizations, because they don't have money. But if they have Goldengate licenses, each organization want to use it because the purpose it serves, it not only replication. As a layman, it is treated or it is promoted as a uh, replication tool, but it does a lot of other tasks apart from replication for you. You will understand it as the session goes on and as you learn code. So what happens is, because they have signed end user license agreement, so they are free to use Goldengate in any number of ways. That's why what they do is they hire Goldengate administrators in their environment and then they work for them. So now let us focus on technical part again. So now why learn Goldengate? Sorry, now let us discuss about different types of Goldengate architectures available. So there are two types of architecture available. One is Oracle Goldengate classic architecture and second is microservices. So how many of you have worked on Goldengate? Type in the chat window. Okay. Now, if you have worked on it, do you know anything about GGSCI? So I'll tell you. Goldengate was founded in 1995 and it was named after famous San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. It wasn't Oracle Goldengate at that time. It was only Goldengate. In 2009, Oracle overtook it and since then it is known as Oracle. Now from 2009 to 2017, there was only one way to configure Goldengate and that was through command prompt, GGSCI. Okay. So until 2017, it was called as Oracle Goldengate. In 2017, Oracle renamed it to Classic Architecture. So Classic Architecture is available for Oracle as well as non-Oracle database, and it allows you to set up, manage, troubleshoot Goldengate through command prompt GGSCI. So if I just have to show you this, I can show you how GGSCI looks like if you haven't seen. So this is GGSCA. So if you see here, if I exit, so you have got GGSCA. So this architecture, when you log in and when you see this type of architecture in your organization or any other place, this is called as classic architecture, where you set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure Goldengate through command from GGSCA. Okay. Now you have got another type of architecture in Goldengate. Now what happened is, in 2017, Oracle renamed it to Classic Architecture. And then it launched a new architecture of Goldengate, which is called as Microservices Architecture. So Microservices Architecture is available from Goldengate version 12.3 onwards. And it allows you to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure Goldengate through GUI. So microservices is the latest architecture and it is getting very popular nowadays. So because it allows you to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure Goldengate through GUI as well. So one of the feature of this microservices architecture is GUI. So you can set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure Goldengate through GUI as well. Okay. Now, what microservices does is it allows better integration with cloud application as well. And now from Goldengate 20 until 19C, it was available only for Oracle database. From Goldengate 21C onwards, microservices support has been introduced for 4 more databases apart from Oracle: DB2, MySQL, MSSQL, and Postgres, and Goldengate for big data. Okay, so now you have two types of architecture, classic and microservices. Classic architecture is available since beginning, and it allows you to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure Goldengate through GGSCI. Microservices architecture is available from 12.3 version onwards, and it allows you to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure Goldengate through GUI. Okay. Now, there is one more product in Goldengate family, which is called as Veridata. How many of you have heard about Veridata? Type in the chat window. Okay. Now, Veridata is another product in Goldengate family. As the name suggests, Veridata stands for verifying the data. So say, for example, on source, you have 10,000 records in a table. On target, you have 9,000 records. So what Veridata can do for you is it can identify the discrepant records for you and it can repair those discrepancies as well for you. Veridata is getting very popular nowadays due to cloud migration going on. So organizations want to confirm whether their data is in sync or not. So that's why Veridata is getting very popular nowadays. Now, one question from everyone, or you might have this question as well. Type in the chat window if you have. With introduction of microservices, does integrated architecture no longer exist? How many of you have that question? Okay. Okay. Now to answer that question, remember one thing. There are only two types of architecture ever. Only classic architecture and microservices architecture. There is no integrated architecture. Now, integrated is type of extract. So in Goldengate, there are two types of extract. One is integrated and second is classic extract. So classic extract is available since beginning of Goldengate. Integrated extract was introduced from 11 to 04 Goldengate and database type 11 to 03 Oracle. Integrated extract, in fact, is available only for Oracle database. Classic extract is available for non-Oracle database. Now, there are different types of replicates as well. So if you don't know about architecture, you will learn, understand when we discuss in next few slides. But what is extract process means is extract process extracts the data from source, and replicate process in Goldengate helps in applying that data to the target database. Now, there are different types of replicates available in Goldengate. First is classic or non-integrated replicate, which is available since beginning. Then integrated replicate was introduced in Goldengate version 12.1 and database version 12c. Then coordinated replicate was introduced in 12.2. So coordinated replicate was introduced to improve the performance of classic or non-integrated replicate. Then parallel replicate was introduced or is the latest type of replicate, which is introduced from Goldengate version 12.3 onwards. So there are two types of parallel replicate, parallel non-integrated and parallel integrated. So you see this non-integrated replicate. So this is kind of non-parallel non-integrated replicate. And this is no parallel integrated replicate. Now, when you run these in parallel mode, it is called as parallel non-integrated replicate and parallel integrated replicate. So it is available for from Goldengate version 12.3 onwards. And in fact, it's now available for non-Oracle databases. These parallel replicate. So integrated is type of your extract and replicate. So now when you configure Goldengate in classic architecture, you can create either integrated extract or classic extract if it supports. Same way you can create different types of replicate, classic, integrated, coordinated, or parallel replicate. Same way when you are using microservices architecture, you can create different types of extract, integrated extract, classic extract, and same way different types of replicate. So the answer to the question is, with introduction of microservices, does integrated architecture no longer exist? The answer to that question is, there are only two types of architectures, classic and microservices. Integrated is type of extract and or replicate. Okay. Guys, if you have any question anytime, you can always post your question in the chat window and I'll ensure all your questions are answered. Okay. So this was about different types of architectures available in Goldengate and different types of extracts and replicates. Now let us discuss about Goldengate classic architecture. So we discussed about there are two types of architectures available. One is classic and second is microservices architecture. Right. So now let us discuss about classic architecture. So how classic architecture works. So you have got source database and target database. Your source database can be any Oracle or non-Oracle database. Same way your target can be Oracle or any non-Oracle supported. Each database has its own transaction log where the transactions get returned to. So in case of Oracle, these transaction logs are called as redo logs or backup of redo logs, which are called as archive logs. So what happens is you configure Goldengate extract process. So now remember one thing, extract process is also called as capture process. Okay. Now you configure Goldengate capture or extract process, which reads the transaction logs in sequential manner. So if it is Oracle, it will read your redo logs or archive logs. It reads the transaction logs in sequential manner and captures the committed transaction only. Now remember one thing, Goldengate is a product which captures committed transaction. Now let me tell you one thing, your transaction logs contains committed as well as uncommitted data. There is misunderstanding among, or I can say lack of knowledge as well among administrators that your transaction logs contains only committed transactions. No, it contains committed as well as uncommitted transactions. But Goldengate captures only committed transactions. Once the transactions are captured, it writes them to the trail file on local machine, which are called as local trail. Once the transaction gets available into local trail, the Goldengate data pump process reads the data from local trail, sends it over TCP/IP network, and writes it to remote trail on target. Now remember one thing, these trail files are like your archive log files. They reside on the operating system. The format is binary format files. Okay, so pump process reads the data from local trail and writes it to remote trail. And once the data becomes available into remote trail, the replicate process reads the data from remote trail and apply it to target data. So there are three processes involved. So this delivery process is also called as replicate. Capture process is also called as extract. Okay, so Goldengate captures only committed transactions, remember. How it knows which transactions are committed? In transaction logs. It directly reads the data from the transaction logs, and transactions which are committed, only those are captured by the extract process. So Goldengate directly communicates with your database. Okay, so all the transactions which are committed are captured by extract process, writes to local trail. Pump process reads the data from local trail, sends it over TCP/IP network and writes to remote trail. And then the replicate process applies that data to the target database. So each process in Goldengate, if you see, so there are three processes: capture, and there are three processes: extract or capture, pump, and replicate or delivery process. So three processes. If you see, there are three processes. Each process has a source to read from and a target to write to. Okay, so the capture process source is transaction logs of the database and target is local trail. Pump process source is local trail and target is remote trail. The source for the replicate process is remote trail and target is target database. So each process has a source to read from and a target to write. Okay. Now, Goldengate also works in bidirectional mode. So what if the application does the transaction on site A, it will be replicated to site B. Similarly, whatever transactions are done on site B, those transactions will get returned to site A using Oracle Goldengate in bidirectional environment. So remember one thing, Goldengate supports both bidirectional as well as unidirectional. So whatever transactions happens on site A, it will be replicated to site B. Similarly, whatever transactions happens on site B, they will be replicated to site A. So same way on site B, you will configure Goldengate extract process, which writes the data to local trail on site B. Then pump process on site B will read the data from local trail and send it to TCP/IP network and write it to remote trail on site A. Once the data becomes available into remote trail, the replicate process will read the data and apply it to target database. Okay. So Goldengate is a product which works on both unidirectional as well as bidirectional. So extract process, writing data to local trail, pump process, sending the data over TCP/IP network and writing it to remote trail. And once the data becomes available into remote trail, the replicate process applies it to target database. And in bidirectional mode, same thing happens. So this architecture of Goldengate is really very important. I always say one thing. I'll tell you about this. When I started my career as Oracle DBA, I started my career in 10G, okay, in 2006. So at that time, my teacher who was there as Oracle, because I took training for Oracle DBA, my teacher who was there, she told me one thing, that if you have understood Oracle database completely, trust me, you have understood 70% of Oracle database. And I completely agree with her. When you have to troubleshoot, set up, Goldengate, manage, like Oracle database architecture is so vast and so complex. If you have understood it well, trust me, you can do all the tasks related to it. But it is very complex. But in Goldengate, it is really very easy architecture. And I always say one thing, if you have understood this architecture, Trust me, you have learned almost 60 to 70% of Golden. Because in Goldengate, any configuration of Goldengate you will do, any designing you will do, any troubleshooting you will do, any performance tuning you will do, everything will come from, or everything you will follow according to this architecture. And this architecture doesn't have any other internal process or anything hiding. So it's black and white. Only these processes are involved. These are the components which are responsible for replicating the data. Okay. Now, what are the components of Oracle Goldengate classic architecture? Manager process, extract process, replicate, pump, trail files. And then there is one more background process which is there, which is called as collector process. So collector process runs here on target. So pump process establishes the connectivity with target manager, and then the collector process is started on target. So collector is a background process which helps in receiving the data from source and writing it to remote trail. So how does data gets written from local trail to remote trail? So pump process sends the data over TCP/IP network, where background collector process collects it, and then it helps in writing data to remote trail. Okay. Now let us discuss about Oracle Goldengate microservices architecture. So microservices architecture is available from Goldengate version 12.3 onwards. So microservices architecture is GUI based. Okay. And it allows for better integration with cloud applications. So microservices architecture is a REST API based architecture, which enable us to configure, monitor, and manage Oracle Goldengate services using web-based UI. So it's a REST API based architecture. So it sends the REST API based architecture. Okay. So you can monitor, manage Goldengate using web-based user interface through GUI. So in 2013, this microservices architecture was introduced from. So in 2017, Oracle renamed the existing architecture to classic architecture, and they launched a new architecture which is called as microservices architecture. Now, Oracle Goldengate microservices architecture, how it looks like. So in the major difference between microservices and classic is microservices, the microservices is service-based architecture. So you must have heard like a lot of technologies are moving towards microservices now. So same thing applies to this as well, microservices. So same thing applies to Goldengate as well. So Goldengate also introduced this microservices architecture where services runs. In microservices, there are processes which run. So it is called as monolithic architecture, the classic one. Microservices is called as service-based architecture. So in microservices, you have got different services running, like administration server, performance metrics server, distribution server. Under that, they all are managed under a service manager. So service manager is there. Under service manager, you configure or manage different services like administration server, performance metric server, distribution server, as well as receiver server. So what happens is all the configuration you do, it is done under administration server. So what happens in microservices architecture is under administration server, you configure Goldengate extract process, which writes the data to local trail. Now in microservices architecture, you don't have any data. You don't have any data pump process. The data pump process in microservices architecture has been replaced with distribution server. So the distribution server reads the data from local trail, sends it over TCP/IP network where receiver server receives it. Now the collector process of classic has been replaced in microservices with receiver server. So distribution server sends the data over TCP/IP network where receiver server receives it and writes it to remote trail file. And then the replicate process reads the data from remote trail and applies it to target data. So in microservices, different services runs for you. So these are the components for microservices architecture: administration server, service manager, receiver server, distribution server, and performance metric server. So administration server is responsible for administrating Oracle Goldengate. So all the processes, whatever you configure, the trail file administration, everything is done under administration server. Report file, any error log file, it is done under administration server. Service manager is watchdog for all the services. So service manager, you have got administration server, receiver server, distribution server, performance metric server, all of them. Then receiver server replaces classic architecture collector process. So the purpose of receiver server is to receive the data which is being sent over TCP/IP. Distribution server in microservices replaces classic architecture's data. So the purpose of distribution server is to distribute the data over TCP/IP. And performance metric server, you can monitor performance of Oracle Go. So this is how your service manager looks like. When you log in, you can log in from service manager. Now the thing is, let me tell you one more uh, difference between classic and microservices is classic architecture is OS based architecture. So basically you need to log into OS server and then you can manage environment. However, microservices can be managed from any other environment, any other server which is in. So that is another difference. So you can monitor, manage Goldengate through GUI from any other machine in the network as well. So now let us discuss about Oracle Goldengate installation, how you can install Oracle Goldengate. So these are the two types of architectures available in Oracle Goldengate environment. Okay. Now, how to install Goldengate? To install Goldengate, it is really very important to check the certification matrix. You ensure that you check the certificate. I always say one thing. You should be checking the certification matrix for any technology you are working in this world. Not only Goldengate, if you are using database, Informatica, ODI, or any other product in this world. You have to ensure that you download and check the certification matrix to ensure that whatever platform and database you have, that particular version is supported. Once you have identified that, download the certified Oracle Goldengate software from Oracle, and then you can proceed to install Oracle Goldengate. So let us see how we can do that. So we are going to discuss about installation of Oracle Goldengate 21C. We'll do the practical demo. So these are the virtual boxes which comes with your database software 19C, and Goldengate 21C binaries are also there. So if you want to, if you say, for example, go for the regular training program, you will get these virtual boxes. You just have to plug and play those. Okay. So I'll go to, so in these virtual boxes, they comes with software. Installation part needs to be done by you. Now here, I have got this Goldengate Classic binary. So I'll go to OGG Classic 21C. Now, this is the zipped file. You need to unzip it. Once you unzip, it gets unzipped to this folder. So I'll go LBO, then go to disk 1. Then here you can run installer. So before that, let me set the display. Once the display is set, now I'll run installer. So we are installing Goldengate 21C. Now let me tell you one thing. Goldengate 21C is has a unified build support. So unified build support means with Goldengate 21C installation, you don't need to provide Oracle database binary link. So it says select the database for this Oracle Goldengate installation. So what happened until if you are using Goldengate version prior to 21C, what will happen is it will ask you for the database version for which you want to install this Goldengate. So say for example, if you have database 11G, you will have to provide 11G. If you have database 12C, you will have to provide database 12C or 30 or 18C or 19C. So on one of my YouTube videos, if you go to my YouTube channel, the latest one of the latest video you will find where I have discussed about difference between 19C and 21C Goldengate installation as well. So database 21C is not binary linked. However, until 19C, it was binary linked. So the major disadvantage of that is, like, say, for example, if you're upgrading your database from, so suppose if you install Goldengate now, it will ask you the database version 11G. Now, suppose if you are upgrading the database from 11G to 19G, in that case, you will have to reconfigure. But with 21C, that requirement is no longer there because it has unified build. So select the database for this Oracle Goldengate installation because the binaries are same. So it says Oracle Goldengate for Oracle database 21C and lower supported version. Click on next. Next, it will ask for you for the location where you want to install Oracle Goldengate. So ensure that you will do that design analysis, all those things. So I will install Goldengate in data app Oracle. Here I'll create one directory. We can do here OGG_demo. Okay. And you need to provide the manager port on which this manager would run. So say, for example, ensure that that port should be open and nothing else should be running on it. So I'm providing port number 8080. You can provide any port number as per a requirement. There is no restriction. Just ensure that that port is open and nothing else is running on it. Click on next. Once you do that, click on install. So it says total of 926 MB disk space is required. Click on install. So the installation of Oracle Goldengate will start. So remember, there are two ways to install Goldengate. One is GUI and second is you can also do silent installation. So there is a response file. If you want to create the response file, you can do, and then you can use that to install Oracle Goldengate. So under this directory, data app Oracle OGG_demo, the Goldengate installation will be. So it doesn't take more than 2 minutes. It should not take. It doesn't take much time for you. Guys, if you have any question, feel free to post them in chat. Okay, so the installation of Oracle Goldengate was successful. Close it. Now you can go to that location where Goldengate you have installed. So go to data, app, Oracle, OGG_demo. Do ls pd OGG_demo. So now you will see your binaries over here. The binaries are installed. So if you do ls-lart, there is GGSCI. So GGSCI stands for Goldengate Software Command Line Interface. So do /GGSCI, then you will be into GGSCI prompt. Now here, to install Goldengate, you can do info. To see what all processes are configured in your environment, you can do your manager. So your Goldengate process is now successfully. Goldengate installation is successful, and you can now go ahead and configure the Goldengate processes in your environment. Okay, now to show you, after that, what happens is you can configure Goldengate extract and replicate. So in one of my installation, my processes are already running. So I'll show you how the replication will work. So first of all, let me show you select star from DEPT11. You see no rows are there. And same way, so this is Ggate 1 machine. This is VirtualBox Ggate 1. And the same machines will be shared with you as well. With database 19C, and you will have to install Goldengate. Okay, now here do select star from DEPT2. So the thing is, on source, select star from DEPT2. Nothing is there. So we are replicating the data. I'm going to show you. We are going to replicate the data from source. Ggate 1 is the VM name. Inside that, we have got pluggable database PDB1. Schema name is GG training 1. And the table name is DPTV. So we are going to replicate the data from 2 Ggate 2, PDB2, GG training 2 to DPT. We'll be replicating that. Okay. So right now you see there is no data in DPT2 and no data in DPT1. So what I'll do, I'll run few inserts. You will see those will be replicated to DEPT11 using Goldengate. So I'll exit. I have got a script /home/oracle/software script. Yeah. So I'll run, there is DML underscore Ggate. So I'll do skill plus ggtrain1 slash welcome1 @ So I'll run DML underscore Ggate 1.sql. So it has inserted into DEPT11, 4 inserts would have been loaded. So if you do select star from DEPT11, the 4 inserts have been inserted and committed. So using Goldengate, you will see that it should be replicated to target site. See, select star from DEPT22. Using Goldengate, 4 inserts have successfully been replicated. So basically, you did transaction on source Ggate1. Using Goldengate, it has been replicated to Ggate2. But how you do it? To do that, what happened is you configure Goldengate process, extract process, which captured the data, whatever transaction happened in DEPT11, it wrote them to local trail file. Pump process read the data from local trails and wrote it to remote trail. Once the data became available into remote trail, the replicate process applied it to target database. So this is how your application happens. Now it happens, you have to configure Goldengate extract process, pump process, and replicate process. So we are going to discuss about that in detail in a training session. Okay. So now Goldengate has 2 types of architecture, classic as well as microservices. For installation, you can do both GUI as well as silent installation. Now you can use Goldengate as a hub as well. So you must have heard about Goldengate as a hub architecture as well. So what happens in Goldengate as a hub is, one of the option to install Goldengate is, instead of, so what we have done right now is, in this type of system, we are installing Goldengate locally on both source and target. That means in the local Goldengate installation is serving your multiple local Goldengate installation is working with local database. However, you can use Goldengate hub architecture. So in Goldengate hub architecture, what happens is, one Goldengate installation serves multiple sources and multiple targets. So that is getting very popular nowadays. We do discuss them. We discuss that as well, about how to configure Goldengate hub as well. So how Oracle Goldengate data flow happens is, Oracle log files are read by extract process, which captures any required data for application. Extract carries out any mapping and conversion to the data and then writes it to the local trail file. Once the data becomes available into local trail, data pump reads the data from local trail, sends it over TCP/IP network and transfer it to remote trail on the target system. Once the data becomes available into remote trail, the replicate process reads the trail file and applies it to target data. Okay. So Oracle Goldengate 21C architecture of data integration automation through microservices, which enable organizations to transform, automate, and scale their data movement. And microservices from 21C is released for database, for which classic architecture is deprecated. Now, let me tell you one more thing. Classic architecture is going to be deprecated from 23C onwards. So basically 21C is last version where classic architecture is available. But let me tell you, Goldengate, still if you go out into the market, 80 to 80% of implementations are still on classic. Microservices is being used by 10 to 15% of organizations. Future of Oracle Goldengate is microservices, and Oracle is pushing its customers to upgrade to microservices architecture. So if you go out into the market, it is possible you will still see classic architecture. Almost 80 to 82% are still on classic architecture. So Oracle Goldengate 21C, download the software from OTN or e-delivery. Then to install. When installing Oracle Goldengate 21c, you won't be no longer prompted to select the database for version for which you are going to install Oracle Goldengate 21c. If you compare it with Oracle Goldengate 19c or prior OGG version, it used to ask for this database word. So for which database you want to install Goldengate. So if you are using Goldengate version 19c or prior to that, you needed to provide this type of database version. So Oracle Goldengate 21c is the new version. And what are the new features available for 21c? So release of Oracle Goldengate is available with microservices architecture for databases other than Oracle. It has unified build support, automatic extract of tables with supplemental logging is supported. Automatic CDR is now enhanced. Lot of new things are there. And in fact, parallel replicate support for SQL Server, DB2 and MySQL databases. Okay. So these are the features. So now, there is a question from Venki, how much space is needed for Goldengate installation? So Goldengate installation itself require only 2 GB or 3 GB of space. But there are trail files generated. For those trail files, you need space. Now, how much space is needed? It depends on you do all the analysis and do the space. You do the basically the impact analysis, space analysis, and based on that, you will require the space. Okay. Now, hi Ashish, will you show the GG installation on rack for GG high availability? So let me tell you one thing. The best advantage of Goldengate is the way it works for Oracle in the same way it works for non-Oracle. The way it works for rack in the same way it works for non-rack. So due to licensing issue on our system, we do Goldengate on standalone. But yes, I'll be discussing with you about how do you do it on rack. So guys, let me tell you, all the courses are upgraded to the latest version. So the Goldengate course which I provide is Oracle Goldengate Classic Architecture 21c. Microservices is also now upgraded to 21c. So it's microservices 21c and Veridata latest version. So you may access all the course and content. I'll share this link with you. And there are a lot of success stories and training feedback which are available on my LinkedIn profile, on my YouTube channel. You can find a lot of feedbacks over there. Then what are the offerings of the courses? So with the course, you have got 1 year unlimited retake. So 1 year unlimited retakes means you can join any session for 1 year, any number of times. So either I do this classic architecture training 4 to 6 times a year, microservices 3 to 4 times a year, and Veridata 2 to 3 times a year. So you have 1 year unlimited retakes. For next 1 year, you can join any session unlimited number of times. You also have access to recorded sessions. So all the sessions are recorded and shared with you. Then you receive step-by-step activity guide. You have one-on-one doubt clearing session. Then you have job support for lifetime. So this is one of the best things. Like say, for example, you are using Goldengate in your environment. And if you have any question issues related to Goldengate in your workplace or in your personal machine, you have lifetime on job support. Along with that, you have lifetime WhatsApp support as well. So WhatsApp support means you will be part of Elite Training WhatsApp group where other training students of mine are there. So you can post your questions, queries over there. You can ask other people question queries. And the training is completely practical. It is interview and job oriented. So with that training, I'll be sharing with you the lab setup kit, the pre-cooked virtual boxes, which I was showing you. Same virtual boxes you will be getting with the training for practice. So these sessions are conducted regularly. All the sessions are practical and training is interview and job oriented. You can join any number of sessions, any number of times for next 1 year. The sessions are live and interactive, and it will pave your path towards becoming Goldengate expert. And my assurance, I always assure, at the end of the session, you will be able to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure Goldengate on your own, as well as able to provide solution related to Goldengate on your own, as well as to your. And if you're interested for upcoming training, you can always contact Skyoops. And these are the few FAQs from training. Like, will I miss anything if I join now in already running batches? So guys, my new batch will commence by end of this month or first week of February. I'll be starting. So we are taking the registrations. So if you join now, so you get access to the previous session videos so that you can start your learning immediately. So you can watch the videos over portal, and do note your 1 year unlimited retakes doesn't start from now. It starts when you join the first session of batch, and it will commence from next batch on. And while watching the videos, if you have any query, feel free to reach out to me. I do one-on-one doubt clearing sessions. Moreover, while recording, if you feel like you're not comfortable, I'll ensure to take one-on-one session for missed session. What if you miss a live session? If any case you miss a live session, then go through the recorded version of live session, which will be available within 24 hours. One session is completed. And we also give you the opportunity to retake this course free for next 1 year. And do you provide lifetime on-job support? Yes, I do provide lifetime on-job support. So if you have any queries with any of your real-time project at your workplace, I will personally help you with that, and that's for lifetime. So guys, I do this personally, everything on my, it's not like I'll assign someone to you. I'll do this everything. So even if you want in support, if you want support in 2030, you will get support at that time as well. And if you have any questions, anything before joining, you can always reach out to me directly on my WhatsApp number. And to check the reviews, you can always go through my LinkedIn, YouTube channel as well. And I hope you like today's session. So for your feedback for today's session, I would request you to drop me an email at ashishagarwalag@gmail.com. You can always reach out to me on my LinkedIn, or you can WhatsApp me, or you can tweet me. And don't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel. And any post-session queries, you can always reach out to me. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask. But thank you everyone for joining today's session. So guys, anyone has any question now? You can ask. You can unmute and ask if you want. I see there